A couple of things that I want to enhance, so to speak, what we spoke last time, or last couple of times. Bring out a different dimension to it. One is, we were discussing how the Oyer Makiv, how a higher rotzin, a higher sense is presented and is developed from a rab to a talmid or a child. You give him examples of his own life at his level, and eventually he comes to recognize a deeper and a greater element in this. So the truth is that when you speak to a child on the child's level, but you tell him, this thing doesn't belong to you, it belongs to him. Although at this particular moment it simply means that I cannot touch it because he will not let me. But in the long run, in a broader way, what this presents to the child, because he asks the question to himself, what does it mean belongs to him? It's right here in front of me. It's in the same environment where I am. But my thing is, why can't I take it just like I take my own thing? What does this immediately conjure up in his own mind? That there is something of the presence that defines things in the world without being observed. There are principles that I cannot identify. It's his. Who said it's his? Is it merely because he is protecting it? Like we pointed out, this is the alliance turf. Human being doesn't think in those terms. If you say it's his, it means it's his on the fundamental and the true level. Where is that fundamental and true level come from? Who provides that type of truth into the world? In other words, just to present in these simple terms, it opens up his mind to recognize that in fact there is a divine presence in the world. That identifies right and wrong, and that protects, that gives everything in the world a presence from the divine perspective. This human being is important to whom? To the Meibershen. And therefore he gives him his rights. He protects his rights for him. It opens up a completely different perspective. Just by telling him this very simple thing, this is his, don't touch it. Although initially he will not be concerned about the divine truth about it, he's concerned about that the other boy will defend it, will protest when you touch his thing. But ultimately, this opens up, this tells him that there is something greater than that which meets the eye. I think I made a bracha already. No?
I didn't notice, I'm sorry.
Okay, this is a daily routine. In similar fashion, this is what we're talking about right now. We are on page Kuf Ches. And Rebbe is pointing out there is the Oyer Makif, which is the power behind everything that exists, gives presence to everything, and yet it itself remains obscure. This is the other thing I wanted to talk about. If it gives presence to everything, how can it remain obscure? Everything exists because of its presence. And the answer is, and I'll explain it again with a motion. This, I'd like we should really delve into and understand the significance of this. As simple as it is, the motion.
What is the question again?
How does it remain obscure even though it creates everything?
Mm-hmm.
It's right there.
To remain on this call, press 1.
This is
the small one, yeah.
Returning to the conference room.
Another chance. If it creates everything, how can it be obscure? It's right there. And here's a proper way to recognize it. It's emotional from our own experience, our own world. If you are a guest in somebody's home, and you're sitting on his chair and you're eating from his food, you may be sitting there in his chair and eating his food and at the same time forgetting completely of your host. The reason for that is, here's a very important principle. When you're eating in your host's home, even though he gave you the food remains his while you're eating it. It does not become yours. Despite the fact that you're eating it. I mentioned this many times. This is something which you have to think. These are the kind of situations that give us a means to understand the godly presence in the world. If the guest takes the food and says, "Looks good, I'm going to take it home. I need it at my dinette table," we will say that he has no right to do that, and we say that he's completely oblivious to what's going on. Because the whole principle of this hospitality is to be a guest by this host, to stay connected to him. This is not a charity thing. This is something which is embracing the two people together. If he is going to pick up and go away, he is completely negating the whole significance of this relationship. This is a proper, this is from our own experience, but it's a broad marshal to the whole union of creation. Yes, in fact, the Rebbe creates the world, created the world and creates the world. And as I said, the Oyer HaSoiviv, this is what maintains the world, gives the world a present. It's important to understand, to recognize. The fact that the Elikus gives the world a present, the world does not acquire the godly force as its own. It still belongs to the Creator. And if he becomes oblivious to the Creator, he becomes oblivious to his own existence. There is not a means to understand his own existence without recognizing that there's a Creator that creates him.
There's no taking the food home.
There's no taking the food home.
There's nowhere to go to.
Not only there's no way to do it. If he has a thought of taking the food home, he misunderstands the whole thing. He misses the whole gift itself. Yes, indeed, the world is a divine creation. And it is tangible. And the creation can identify itself. However, it cannot dissociate from the Creator. The minute it turns around and says, okay, I got it all, I don't need the Creator, he loses completely his own existence. One second.
Yeah.
This is the pshat, the reason, this is the pshat, that the way makif, that the Oyer HaSoiviv, it remains behelem. What does it mean, behelem? It's right there. It's giving of itself into the creation, into the entity that it creates. Yes, it does give it of itself to the entity that it creates, but the entity that creates cannot claim it as its own. He has it, the created has it only in association with the Creator.
Right, that's a slightly different question to how does he remain Behelem? And we answered that by saying he's not really Behelem, it's just that the guest closes his eyes.
The point, this is what I'm trying to explain, even a broader perspective in this. Even while you were experiencing his presence, he's Behelem.
Yeah, but we do need to maintain a sense of him, otherwise all is lost.
Okay, so good. Let's talk about that for a moment. I'll come back to it, as a matter of fact. Initially, he is there, and he does not understand what makes him be there.
Who, the child?
No, the child or the adult.
Uh-huh.
What makes him be there? Doesn't understand what kind of presence is this. And then he realizes that this presence is not really something that he can conjure, that he can believe and understand on his own. There is no such thing existence in the world of the arena. And therefore he turns around and he says, there has to be, as the Rambam says, a motzu rishi dat mamtzi, a first being that makes it be. Not only, as we said, not only that he makes it be, but mamtzi, he actually alerts him to this existence. He's the one that tells him, hey, you were there.
He alerts him to
his own existence. I mentioned many times there's a shir from the Ibn Ezra. People who say the various piyutim on Shabbos in the songs that Shabbos table they have. Among them there is one from the Ibn Ezra. The Ibn Ezra says like this, very interesting. Keil echad bro'ani. The one God created me. B'yomar chayoni. And he said, that I'm alive. Please understand what the implication of it there is. I say, for Nazar, He created me, but without Him alerting me to the fact that I am alive, I wouldn't even know that I'm alive. I know it because He's alerting me to it. You should know that you're alive and you have capabilities and you have a mission and you have a reason of being. On my own, I wouldn't even get a sense of that either, because it doesn't become mine. It doesn't belong to me.
Right.
And if I start claiming it unto myself, this is where I go into klippus. This is where I go into taivas.
Right.
This is where I lose the whole reality.
Right. Well, all that is true is good. The question seemed to be that he obscures himself, and how does he do that? But we're sort of answering it by saying he's not really that obscure. Is that our point?
That's right.
Okay.
He's obscure at your level. He's obscure. You recognize him if you recognize your own existence as to what it is. He doesn't obscure. He tells you, I created you.
Yes. So.
But you have to remember that he is the one who told you that he created you.
He's only obscure at your level if you close your eyes to him.
If you what?
If you make yourself oblivious,
No, one second. If you begin to identify yourself independently of him, you lose yourself and him.
Right. Good. And if you identify yourself and your own existence fairly correctly, he won't be as obscure.
They won't just say, yeah, because then, of course, yeah, then you have you have a real presence, you have a real purpose.
Yeah, you'll be a real guest at a real host.
Exactly.
Okay.
The exact words of the Ibn Ezra.
To remain on this call, press
Could
1.
you say it one more time? The exact.
I can say it, and we have a it's not it's just see that.
Rabbi, it's the other phone.
Wait, sorry.
Wait a second now, you turned me off.
I don't think
Wait,
so.
maybe not. Let's see if it's still recording.
I'm sorry.
1 second.
You still have it, right?
Still recording? Okay.
Okay. Keil echad bro'ani ve'omar chayoni.
Amar Chai Ani.
He told me
Told
chayoni.
me I'm alive.
Who told him again? I'm sorry.
God, Hashem,
He said.
God,
Right, okay.
Kale.
Kol echad
Yeah.
bara ani. Hu amar chai ani.
He told me that I'm alive, and that is what gave me my self-consciousness.
חוץ מזה, לא ידעתי כאילו. קיבלת?
כן. תודה.
I pointed out, this is how the Rambam begins, and this is a phenomenal thing. Rambam begins his Sefer, and he says, Yisoid ha-Yisoidis v'amud ha-Chochmos. The foundation of all foundations, the beginning of all beginnings. And then he says, Amud ha-Chochmos. It's also the pillar for Chochmah. And what is the pillar for Chochmah? And to get to Chochmah. Later it is to know that there is there a first being, who mamtzi kol hanimtzu, and him is mamtzi. He brings forth everything that exists. So I pointed out the word mamtzi does not mean he creates. He makes be. The makes be should be moitzi. Moitzi lechem min haaretz. Mamtzi has a very specific meaning in Lashon Kodesh. Mamtzi means he makes available, he serves it up. Like a waiter is mamtzi. Moitzi is one who creates it, the owner, this is back in the kitchen. The waiter is mamtzi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is what he says, who mamtzi kol hanimtzu, Rambam says. That the fact that we can see the world is not because we find it out through our own experiences. Then we would know a world only by touch. A meaningless, dark world. because he is mamtzi, because he presents it to us. He's alerting us to the union that there is a world for you, that he created for you. That is the beginning of Chokhmah. This you recognize with Chokhmah. This is the pillar of Chokhmah. Chokhmah begins with re'iyah, with sighting. When you see this reality, you see that this reality is being shown to you. You didn't discover that which you see. You opened your eyes, you didn't have to look for it. It's right there in front of you.
Is it a way like a gift? I'm giving it to you.
I don't know, how is it? You were just a Yumbish as I'm a Yama. You tell me.
I'm trying to. I wrote the word mamsi and then what you're saying. You're presenting. He's presenting it.
Mamsi means that whenever you see, you see because it is being shown to you.
It's being shown to you.
Because it's part of a bigger reality. This is the union that the Soivev is creating everything and remains obscure. Okay. In the meantime, let me just point out where we're going to start. We'll start from the line that begins with the word Ve'en Ha'ilomis. This is on page Kuf Mem Ches, and it is the seventh line from the top of the paragraph there. That the oil is Seif, the one that creates it, is not Goli. Behese behel. Ve'en Ha'ilomis Masigi Moisoi. But the worlds do not comprehend it. What does it mean the worlds do not comprehend it? It means that the world cannot comprehend it from their own perspective. Say, okay, this is what I am, this is what I have for myself. He never has it on his own. It is always something that's being created and given to him from a higher source. This is why it stays behelam. It never becomes part of his own orientation. And I said, a very simple illustration of this in our own experience. If you're a guest in somebody's home and he serves you a hefty lunch, if you will consider to take this lunch home and eat it at your own table, you're misunderstanding this entire phenomenon. Not only misunderstanding, he will take it, say, where are you going? Give it back to me. It was not given to you so it becomes yours by your own definition. It's yours while you are at my table. This is the makif. The makif, he creates everything. While you are part of him, you will acknowledge his presence.
It's like you eating for him.
Yeah. And if you are going to dissociate yourself from the Creator, then he tracks everything that he gave you. It never becomes something of at your level as an entity. This is that the makif, the soiviv, is behelam, because it's not begilu in the creation itself. It never becomes part of creation, and this is what we're up to. Okay, let's start. Ve'en ha'ilomas masigi meisa. It's behestem, the oilamas do not comprehend it. a hashpah that the oil must have, but they're not massing it. This hashpah is not called mislabeshes. Mislabeshes means it's enclosed, which means it becomes part and parcel of the created element. It can be understood from the created element perspective. It remains aloof. It surrounds it. It lifts it to its own level. It does not give the created a sense of its own being, independent being. This is what creates it. This is what gives it a place. Provided that you recognize that when are you? You were in this environment. And if you try to dissociate yourself from this environment, then you lose everything. V'hainu, okay, let's continue. V'hainu, which means to say, that the fact that the oil hasoibev is present everywhere, and it also it affects everything. He creates everything in every place. The hasoibev is what gives it a being. However, here's the key. But this element that the oil hasoibev is present everywhere, it is not in a manner of hislapshus oil bekli, of being clothed an oil bekeli. What does oil bekeli mean? We discussed the other day. What is the key to the word keli? Again, we go back to our simplest misholim. Because the word keli is something which is very familiar to us. And the Siddur uses the word keli in a literal sense, and it's incumbent upon us to understand what it means. You have a lake, and the lake has an abundance of water. This water is a source of life. It's a necessity for life. However, in order that this life element should reach you and give you life, it cannot stay in its source in the lake. Have you said, you jump into the lake and you have an abundance of water, this will not provide life for you. How does it in fact provide life for you? It provides life for you at your level. You are in an environment where there is not an abundance of water. The water abundance of water is only a source for water. But you exist outside of that. Since you exist outside of that, how do you get the water? You get the water through a keli. What's a keli? A keli is that which is made of material of the world in which you exist. At your level. When you take the water in a cup, the cup is not made of water. The cup is made of something else completely. The cup is something that you can hold in your hand physically. You don't drink the cup. And if this water is placed into that cup, then the water that's in the cup, it's a different kind of water. It's not the water in the lake. Now it has been translated as water served up, mamamtsi. This water is being mamtsi to the person to drink it. It's a different kind of water. This water that's been presented to him at his level. Because how does a person drink? He does not drink by being in the water, he drinks by putting some water into his mouth. And putting some water into his mouth, you have to be given in a measured manner, in a pleasant manner. Not only that, when you put water into your mouth, you have to be ready to accept it. And if you put too much in your mouth, you won't be able to process it. Even there, it has to be given in a measured manner. And this is the function of the keli. This is the pshat mamtzi. He's presenting it in a manner at your level, how you can absorb it. One of the you watch a baby being fed. This is very instructive. Not only is he being fed, a spoon by spoon, but in the spoon itself, it's a minimal amount, and it's given to him only the extent that he can process it. And then you take away the spoon and let him swallow it first, completely. When he's ready for the next, then you give him the next. You don't give him, I have an abundance here.
Yep.
This is not served up on the basis of your ability. This is served up on the basis of his ability to receive. This is the pshat mamtzi, or mamtzi. Mamtzi is he presents it according to the recipient's ability to process. The REBBE, the Motzi Rishon, who created the world, he did not create a world and give it an abundance of presence. He did not only create the world, as we're going to see he created the world and he presented the world with the in dosages that the world can process. This is what the Rambam says. Mamtzi is called. He presents it. All right. So this is what we're saying. Ver HaSebev is present everywhere. Ver HaSebev nimtzo b'chol mokim u'poyim b'chol mokim. It is everywhere and it has an effect everywhere. But this is the key. Einoi bebchinas hislapshus ei bechli. It is not bebchinas. It is not in the realm, in the manner, or in the concept of hislapshus ei bechli. Yes, he has an abundance, but this abundance is not defined as oil bechli. The oil HaSebev is not placed into a keli to make the world aware of the HaSebev. This is why we say it's obscure. Lias mukso be'yelomes, so that the oil HaSebev will be comprehended and less recognized in the world. What this is saying is like this. Of course, the creation and the koyach that creates the world is an infinite koyach, oil HaSebev. But the world cannot possibly gain sustenance from it in that state that it's oil HaSebev. How then does it work, so to speak? How does it present it like this? Number one, The world has like to recognize that there is the one who supplies the chayas. He doesn't live on it on his own. And like to discuss this. Since he is going to get only one spoonful, so what is the necessity to know that he knows where it's coming from, that there is a source? One who supplies it. He is only going to get one spoonful at a time. So he should be interested only in this spoonful. This is this so to speak wondrous combination. Again, I'm going to take the illustration of a baby being fed by his mother. The baby knows that as soon as it opens its mouth, the mother is going to put something into the mouth. How does he know that? He doesn't understand what the mommy is. This is the Oil HaSoivev. He knows he's eating not because he is eating, because he's being fed. And this thing that is being fed is very important to him. This is why he can take a little bit in his mouth and not take any more and be confident that when he's ready for the next, it's going to be there. This is the presence of the Oil HaSoivev. The Oil HaSoivev is present there whenever the creation can turn to it and relate to it. And it's always available. But it's available in a measured manner, so that you take what you are able to process.
I can't help it. It does strike me that this is the way it should be, or this is the way it will be. But in the meantime, it does not always seem to be a perfect matchup between.
Perfect. Bereshis. What is the Bereshis? What is the beginning? Bora Elohim. Yeah, Elohim created. Oh, wait a second. I have everything. And the Shomayim v'Zoretz.
So wait. So the fact that there's now that there would be an orphan in the world or a natural disaster, these are some kind of anomalies that we're leaving out here. Is a perfect matchup. That's what,
I hear what you're saying. These anomalies, please think about it. The anomalies are the result of the creature, the creation, wanting to have independence of source. This is where he loses the resource.
yeah. So if humanity turned to their maker properly, there would be no orphan and there'd be no natural disasters. Okay.
This is what the Rebbe explains. Why is Oil HaSoivev behelem? Because it's not Oil B'Keli. The way the world wants to tell you is Oil B'Keli. But what's a Keli? A Keli is that presentor, Mamtzi, that is measured according to his ability to receive. Oil HaSoivev does not come in this way. How then do you relate to Oil HaSoivev? You recognize that you belong to him. Let's bring it down to the practical level. This is why we are able to accept directives, mitzvahs, do's and don'ts, which we do not understand at all what they're about. Shabbos, what is Shabbos? Shabbos is This is the Meibersh's day. This is not something to do with the world. The world is no different between Shabbos and Sunday and Monday. But if recognizing that the world belongs to the Meibersh, then you can understand the different Shabbos and Monday. This is even the simplest thing, Shabbos. All the mitzvahs are like this. A mitzvah means that it was given to you from a higher source. And you can never fathom, so to speak, fully define what the mitzvah is in your own terms, in your own environment. Like we said before, this is his, this belongs to him. What does that mean, it belongs to him? That if I touch it, it's going to give me a slap on my hand? Is that why I don't touch it? Or do I recognize that this is his by divine definition?